If this is an orange, then this is an orange with a capital O. Hi everyone, it's Tasha and welcome to another recipe video. And today we are going to make a whole orange cake. That's a cake made with a whole orange. In this case two. I first published this recipe in 2013, but my presentation skills at the time left a little bit to be desired. Yikes. Problem was more with the frosting though, so let's do a do-over. 2013, a whole 10 years later. Hopefully my food photography skills are a tiny bit better too. Still not amazing, but they'll do. I love this recipe because half of it can be made in a blender. In fact, if you halve this recipe and just used a normal loaf tin, then you could actually technically make the entire thing in a blender and it would become a blender cake. But because I'm making a bundt, you can only really fit all the liquid parts of the ingredients in the blender this time. Also, the first time I made this, I only put the oranges in my blender at the time of food processor, and then I added the orange mush to the rest of the mixture. This time I'm blending half of the ingredients all together and then pouring the wet ingredients into the dry ingredients and mixing it. And then you bake it, and then you're done. I'm keeping this one super simple today, so I'll also be making a very simple glaze of icing sugar and orange juice, and we'll decorate it quite simply too. So of course the most important ingredients you'll need for this recipe are oranges. And by the way, check out this one, it's a monster orange. Found this guy at work. We have a fruit tray at work and everyone was going for all the nice apples and nobody wanted this sad lone orange, so at the end of the day I just took it. It will have a good home in my stomach. Well, I'm not actually going to use this one because I suspect it's going to be a little bit seedy. Not in a dodgy way, just has seeds inside. And we don't want seeds in our cake batter, so I'm actually going to be using seedless navel oranges. Also, navel oranges are super flavourful and the skin's a little bit thinner than some of the big oranges you can get at the supermarket. And even though we are blending the entire orange, we don't want it to be too bitter, so if you can get thin skinned sweet oranges without seeds, all the better. If you can't find seedless oranges, don't worry, just get your regular orange. We're going to cut them up anyway, and at that stage you can fish any seeds out. And also remember to take the green stalks off before you blend those too, because those are really tough, those probably won't blend, and you don't want to get one unlucky person getting a bit of an unpleasant surprise in their cake, so take the green stalks off before you blend them. Anyway, we're all ready, so let's go to the kitchen. I can't snap with oranges. Let's go to the kitchen and see how it's done. First, we're going to preheat our oven to 180 degrees C. Next, I'm going to blitz 2 whole oranges, which I've just chopped up. And by the way, I have actually removed the little green stems from the top because they can be a bit hard. I'm also going to blitz it with 3 eggs. A tablespoonful of vanilla, yep, a tablespoon because this is going to be a big cake. 340 grams of softened unsalted butter. Please go in. And half a teaspoonful of salt. Okay, let's blend this bad boy up. And that's our liquids done. Sorry about the mess in the background. Keep saying it, tiny kitchen, not much place to put anything and everything is everywhere. It is neat, trust me, just small. Now here I have 500 grams of plain flour, to which I'm going to add 50 grams of ground almonds, a tablespoonful of baking powder, and 450 grams of caster sugar. I know it's a lot of sugar, but remember, big cake. And now we are going to stir in our weird orange smoothie. Do half at a time first, let's see how we go. It's going to be very thick. That's it. As soon as everything's well combined, it's time to put it in the tin. Now I have a large bundt tin here. As you can see, I've not only oiled it, but I've also sprinkled some flour around it, just to make sure that it doesn't stick at all. I did it oil first, then a bit of flour, and then I shook it around just to coat all the sides because I don't want this cake sticking. Right, now we need to get all of this into all of that, so let's go. And now we need to bash this on the counter a few times to get rid of air bubbles. First actually I'm going to put a little cloth down so I don't make too much noise. See, I'm nice like that, I think of the neighbours. It's not too late anyway at the moment. Okay, let's go. Nice, and now we're going to bake this for about an hour. I'm actually going to check after about the 50-minute mark because I have a fan oven and it gets a bit hotter than other ovens, but it may still take 60 minutes or maybe even a little bit more. It will depend on the oven temperature in your case because every oven's a little bit different, so let's say 50 minutes to an hour plus maybe. If it starts to get a bit too brown on top and if you poke a skewer in and it's still damp, then put some cling film, no, not cling film, that will melt, not cling film, put some kitchen foil on top to stop the top from burning, and then carry on baking it until when you poke a skewer right into the centre of the cake it comes out completely clean. Right, so I'll see you in about an hour-ish. Exactly 60 minutes is up and it's looking beautiful. Did get a little bit too brown in the corners, but actually I ended up not using the foil because I didn't think it matters just for these end crispy bits. As you can see, it's very puffy, it will deflate as it cools, so now we're just going to let it cool completely. Now that the cake is cool, let's turn it out. Let's get rid of this first, make life a bit easier. 3, 2, 1. Ooh, that sounded good. Hooray! And it came out nice and evenly too. Now we're going to make a simple orange glaze. Here I have 160 grams of icing sugar, and I'm going to add 1 tablespoonful of orange juice. Going to try another half tablespoonful. And now just a teaspoonful. There we go, and we want it nice and thick like this because we don't want it seeping into the cake. Now we're going to go ahead and ice our cake. And now we're going to decorate it a bit. I've got some candied mixed peel here, which I have handily bought in advance. And now I'm going to dot on some mint leaves, just for a little bit of colour. I can't decide if this cake looks more springy or more Christmassy. It could be for either really. But either way, it is gorgeous. Look at how thick that icing sits on the top, absolutely beautiful. This is a super moist cake. At first I thought I had underbaked it because when I sliced it the side looked a bit flat, but to my relief it wasn't. It was just the way I cut it smushed it down a bit. Lovely and fluffy inside. Just look at that wonderful cakey crumb on that. So there you go, really easy whole orange cake. It smells gorgeous. I wish you could smell that zingy oranginess from the screen. I can't wait, I'm going to take a bite right now. Cheers! Super moist. I'm going to have another bite. And those almonds bring a rich denseness to it, so it's almost like a cake pudding. This is seriously good. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's recipe video and I hope you'll join me next Wednesday for my next one. Get the full written recipe on my blog tashcakes.com, follow me on Instagram, I am tashcakes.tastes, and find me on TikTok too, I am Food in Slow Motion, but you can also find me as Tashcakes there too. Subscribe and hit the notification bell if you'd like to see more. Give this video a like if you'd like to help other people find it. Comment down below if you'd like me to make anything in particular, and I'll see you guys next time. Be good, be nice, and have a good week. It's half the size of my head, and I have a big head.